terms of some of the tools you're using?
So it's really about what you do with the tools. The tool itself doesn't get people involved. It's about where you put the tool and who takes it up. So in that particular project, Commonplace was embedded in 2 or 3 local blogs. And each of those local blogs had a readership. They tended to be younger people who hadn't been involved. And what we did was we embedded the live map so they could actually see the comments as they were coming in. And then they wrote, the blogs wrote a couple of articles based on the topics that people had talked about, which then went out to the email list and that with a call to action. So that's an example, but it's a tool. It depends what you do with it. And what we try and do is make as many resources and examples available so that our customers can then build on the best practice, if you like.
Result though, in terms of getting that demographic mix there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Any thoughts, questions?
I had the questions on
Excellent. Go for it.
Well, one was about push notifications. If I am a user, so let's assume I already went on the blog and I found out about Commonplace. Yeah. Do I get push notification about a certain regeneration area, or is it to do with GPS where if I step here, I get the notification that this is going to change? Yeah. And the second question, so then you can give us a rounder idea. You said all of the data that you collect is open. Does that mean that if I post a note, everyone else can see the note, and vice versa? Does that mean that everything that the borough, for example, posts on the platform is visible to anyone at any point in time?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, push notifications. Most of the time it's a web app. So it's a responsive web app, so it works. It looks like a mobile phone app on your phone, but it's actually a web app. So the push notifications in that case aren't native to the phone. We have done some apps, and in that case, yes, you would get a push notification. It's all GPS enabled, so yes, if you're in the area, and particularly if you're commenting on something from your phone, it puts the comment in exactly the place that you currently are. So we're working more towards native apps because we're finding that people who are in areas want to have more of a kind of ongoing opportunity to interact with the area rather than it just being project-based. So we're developing that a lot at the moment. And the second question was about, sorry, remind me?
Visibility of the data.
Yes, okay, yeah. So yeah, basically the answer is yes. Anybody can read anybody else's comment that's made, and anything that the borough posts in terms of proposals or communications can be read by anybody else. So, I mean, we do have ways of the customers in the borough being able to communicate with key stakeholders that aren't public, but all of the kind of engagement stuff is absolutely open and transparent.
Another opportunity to throw any questions? I can throw one at Jason, actually. I remember a debate I went to a number of years ago between, I think it was Pearsgoff and Rogers, and they were arguing about the texture of London. Rogers wanted, nice open boulevards and formal lines, and Pearsgoff was saying, well, actually, no, what you need is actually the texture of London. You turn a corner, you don't know what's behind the next corner. If we use visual modelling, is that going to we're going to lose some of that magic of London, that it kind of unfolds before your eyes and it's going to become more formal?
I think not, because the reality is that the pressures from development are going to lead the way, and sites that become available. But what we do have the opportunity by being able to visualise it is to maybe not fall into some of the mistakes that we've made in the past, where we take a site and we think the solution, it works because you can only look at it locally in context. I mean, starting with the idea that when we were all visualising buildings, and developers naturally fall into this trap, they show us the views that we would like to see, the best marketing images. What we'd like to do is turn that on its head and give ourselves a vision of the city so that we can look at things in a much wider context. So to be able to take the LVMFs that I talked about, these are sort of strategic views across the city to be able to look in. And at the moment, we just pinpoint plots on a map and then goes to those points and visualise it. But far better to be able to look at it from every angle, and also to understand, Centrepoint, it's an amazing building, the way it was built, and it was one of the first precast concrete buildings of its type, to the point that it's not being taken down, it's being redeveloped. But the major part of the redevelopment, apart from change of use, is the way it meets the ground. because it wasn't looked at in that way. It was just this new utopian, beautiful tower that we aspired to as a city. So now we would have the ability to be able to walk around it and see how it meets the ground and how it would work. And with Wood Wharf and Nine Elms and these big sites that are coming online, this is going to become more and more important, because actually the development isn't one. It's huge areas of London that are being redeveloped. So being able to look around them and understand and bring that data in and understand whether schools should be there, or whether even the demographics that we're expecting to arrive in a place should change and alter the way the buildings are. So hopefully it's going to be a good help.
Perfect. Okay. I'm determined you must be a question or two out there on the floor. I can't believe that there's not a single question after hearing all these great speakers that isn't bubbling away. Ah, great.
Would it be possible, mainly directed at Jason, to upload your own data to the software and then be able to almost overlay your own data on certain areas?
Yeah, so that's one of one of our aspirations, is to be able to create a dashboard to layer data into. So there's work there to understand what data you would need and how you'd need to visualize it. But once that piece of work is created, then yeah, it's very simple to in effect refresh the data and see how it populates across the city. So yeah, it's definitely an aspiration.
Any more questions? I've got one as well. You mentioned 9D. What's 9D?
Yeah, well, 9D is, so basically it's a combination of all sorts of things, because we're looking at 3D in terms of what we're doing. Then you go into 4D because you start to add time and dimension to it. And 3D in 3D is basically our 9D. So you start to wear immersive goggles, so you're now in the environment, but you can still walk through it, and it's not real. So they're starting to call that 9D, which just gets confusing. But there you go.
In fact, you want to go back to your families and sort of amaze that 9D future. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. We've got no more questions. I'm quite sure our panelists will be around. There's a coffee break now, and then we're coming back for that last session. So thank you again to all the panelists.